Hello crafters! This is Michelle with myflightsoffancy.com with another tutorial for you. Today I'll be showing you how to do this fun little dress folding technique. Shall we get started? So as you can see, this just is a fun little dress. It pops up from the card just a little bit. And for this technique, you can use any kind of paper you'd like. You can use printer paper, you can use a thinner cardstock. You do not want to use a thick cardstock because of how many folds there are. It just would not look as good when you're done. So let's get started. Today I've used Close to My Heart gold dot washi tape, just covered over some printer paper. This is just printer paper. It's just a 20-pound weight, so it's just regular stuff. Take it out of your printer. That's what I did. I've covered it with strips of washi, which you can kind of see, the little lines, so that it does make the dot formation. It's not perfect, but nobody's going to notice. So, step one, you are going to fold this in half. And you're going to make sure that every crease that you do is a very good crease. You're going to open that up, and you're going to fold it in half the other way, so that you're making a plus. Again, make sure the creases are great, nice and crisp. Now we are going to make sure that the lines are up and down, just because they're kind of hidden that way in the dress itself, in the skirt. So what we're going to do is, here is that middle line that's vertical. We're going to fold this edge, to this fold rather. And you're going to make it be as close as you can get it without going over, and score. You're going to turn it around. You don't have to, but that's what works best for me, as I say, and have some problems grabbing it. And then we're going to fold that side. So we're actually going to fold that the other way here. So now you have a rectangle, both sides. Open that up. You have a mountain, valley, mountain fold. What you're going to do is you're going to take these two mountain peaks and you're going to fold this crease to the middle crease. So sometimes it's a little bit easier said than done. Now you could just have kept this closed like this and scored here, but I don't want to. As you can see, the gold kind of comes off. So I don't want to mess with that any more than I have to. So I went ahead and opened that and creased it here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. Press that down just a little bit. Crease that and open it up again. So right now, if you were to look at it from the end, you have something that looks like this. Okay, so now what you're going to do, you're going to fold the bottom up towards the top, but you're going to leave just a little bit. Not a whole much. It's maybe 1/4 inch. You're going to crease this very well, making sure that it stays lined up. And it's a little bit harder to crease because there's lots of layers right there in the middle. Okay, then you're going to flip it over. That's what works best for me anyway. And you're going to fold this back down, but you're not going to use this crease, but you're going to create another crease. And this is going to be essentially where the waist is on this dress. And sometimes you have to just work it a little bit so that it'll lay right where you want it to be. And we're going to crease that. So this is what you have. You can see where all the pieces are. This is what it looks like on the back and the sides. Okay, so that's where we are right now. And at this point, it is possible that one side is going to be longer than the other side, and that's perfectly okay. You just want to make sure that if that is the case on your dress, you're going to want the shorter part to be on top. So you might have to refold this the reverse way, you know, how you had it, and just fold those lines the opposite direction. In my instance, they're pretty much equal. So you do want this part to be facing up. So if you were, you know, making a pocket, you'd want that facing up. You can see that on the card here, a little tuck spot right there. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to be creating the skirt of the dress. So how far out you pull it is completely up to you. If you want a fuller skirt, like on this one, as you can see, this comes almost all the way out to this crease line here. So it's almost at that point. Not quite, but almost. And as you can see, that gives a very full skirt. If you wanted a smaller skirt, you would have that be less. So we're going to do a smaller skirt on this one just to show you the difference. And this again is where the playing with the paper to get it to do what you want it to do comes in to play. So our dress is not going to be a very full dress on this one. If you wanted it to be a full dress, again, you would just pull it out to here and create that crease to go from here down to this point right here. Okay, and how you hold it and pull it, completely up to you and whatever makes you feel comfortable. So once you have this, make sure you also crease this top part, because that's going to change that crease just a little bit. Instead of it being perfectly straight, it's going to be going up a little bit on this end. So you do repeat on the other side. You want to try and get them as even as you can. You know, dresses are not perfect, especially if you're doing full-size swirly dresses. They're going to be uneven in spots. And there's my gold's coming off. All right, so there's our skirt. Doesn't look much like a skirt, but we'll get there. Now we're going to turn it over. So this is the top, this is the bottom. What we're going to do next is we're going to work on this neckline. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold it, and you're going to fold it, it's going to be about 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more. And you're just going to put your finger basically where you want it to fold. Put your finger in this little pocket here, for lack of a better word. And you're just going to bend it until it can fold down. And then you're going to have to play with these other spots. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to have this laying down, and you're going to have each of these fold a triangle. And they may not be perfect, and that's okay. Crafting is not about perfection. And you're just going to fold that down. You're going to do the same thing on this side. So basically, if you look, you can see there's a little crease right here, okay? That is this crease here on both of these pieces. And so that you want to have, as much as possible, line up with where you created your crease on your card. So there, you can see the neckline. It's not lining up perfect, but let's see if we can fix that a little bit. There, that's a little bit better. And then press, press, press. Now, because this is washi tape, while washi tape is very thin, it still does add some toughness to the paper, so it does make it hard to fold sometimes. Next, we're going to create the bodice. So what you're going to do is you have this crease here, and you're going to be folding this up along this crease. Okay? And then, as you can see, that means this wants to go too. So we're going to fold this over first. And then, remember how we were talking about how big you want your skirt? That's where this comes into play some more. So this one, we could make it really frilly and have it come all the way out to here. That wouldn't look quite matched with how we did this part here. So we're going to have ours come in as kind of an A-line skirt. So we are going to fold this in, and we're going to do right about there. Make sure everything's laying down. You want to make sure to keep this part right here as close to the bodice as you can, because otherwise you're going to have a small bodice with super big hips. And yeah, we don't want that for a card. All right, so there's that side. And this is where you're going to start seeing the washi tape being thickness and not wanting to fold it anywhere. Okay, so you're going to repeat on this side. We're going to, I find it best to do it this way. You know, just use your bone folder, hold your fingers where that line of paper is, kind of like when you're doing a mini album and wrapping the paper around. So you're going to do that. It just gives it just a little bit more movement ability. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to use it today. And then, again, you want to make this as even as you can as to what you did on the opposite side. And then crease, crease, crease. All right, so that's what we have now at this point. Turn it over. Our dress is almost there. One last little bit, and that's the sleeves. So, like with the skirt, where you fold will depend on how big the sleeve is. This dress has kind of, you know, basically short sleeves. This one, I'm going to see if I can do some cap sleeves, but I'm going to see if I can make them even. That always seems to be my problem, is getting them to be even. So I think instead of, to do the short sleeves here, I fold from this point to this point and basically make a straight line there, and that's the crease, and that's how you get this large sleeve here. So, but because we only want like half of that, I think I'm only going to go down to here, basically where we folded that neckline piece to. And then, you know, again with the working with the paper and your fingers, and just kind of see if you can make it do what you want it to do. It's always a fun process. All right, so again with the same spot, going up. Let's see, how close am I? Not so close. Okay, we're going to call that good. Gonna put some good creases in here. And there you have your dress. And you can see with the differences that I did, the difference that it makes in the dress itself and what you're seeing. So this one you can see, same size piece of paper. This one, the sleeves are smaller, the skirt is smaller, but it's still a fun little dress. So let's make it into a card. have a 4x4 piece of Jubilee paper, 4x8 piece of white daisy cardstock, scored at 4 inches. Going to just glue this on here. And make sure that I'm putting this in the right direction. I'll trim off that little bit here a little bit later. And then to attach this, as I'm sure you can figure out, glue combo is just not going to cut it. So generally what I do is I will take my 3D foam tape and I will attach one piece here and then one piece down here. And that makes everything lie so nicely. So put this piece. The trick is holding everything while you do it. And then this one will just go down here. So the skirt one, it's not going to hold anything down. It's just going to help give the dimension because this part right here is pretty thick. You have lots of layers right there. Make sure I'm gluing this on the right way. Not fun to do it the wrong way. And voila. There you have same dress process, different dress outcomes. We have a shorter twirly skirt. Well, not shorter skirt, just not as twirly. Smaller sleeves, but still both super cute. Still both sit up off of the card, so it gives it a little bit of fun dimension. And you're ready to go. Thank you so much for visiting me today. I hope that this tutorial has been helpful for you. I will have photos and dimensions up on my blog, so please come visit www.myflightsoffancy.com, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.